The topic of this video is going to be a more complicated flamethrower. In the last one, we made a flamethrower that looked kind of like this, and it's basic. You can do it in a couple minutes, doesn't look super great, like it's fine. This one is a little bit better, it has a little bit more complicated stuff to it, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're probably going to be using like 4 particle systems to create this fire effect. One that's the basic fire, the next one that's like an additive sort of system. There will also be sparks like you see, and there will also be glow as well, like at the base of the fire to really make that stand out. Let's get into it. Go ahead and right click in the hierarchy view and create an empty game object, and I'm just going to call this fire. Right click that one and create a particle system as a child. This one I'm going to call fire alpha perhaps, since that's going to be the base color. My game is set where I want the flamethrower to go up vertically. I'm going to rotate it, I think -90, yeah, on the x-axis. You may or may not want to do that. Totally up to you in your project. There's a couple textures here that I drew in, what is this, sketch.io. It's like a free online sketch pad, like this. So a black background with white on it, a black background with white on it, and make sure that when you import your textures that you choose from grayscale, check alpha is transparency, and hit apply at the bottom. For me, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have it randomly pick between one of the 4 blobs that I drew to sort of give the fire a little bit more life. We need to create a material for this, so in a materials folder, I'm going to right click and create a material, and I'm going to call this fire _alpha_ matte. On this one, in the shader where it says standard, we actually want it to be a legacy shader, a particle shader, alpha blended for this. It's looking for a texture, so we can go ahead and select the fire texture. Oh, what did I call it? Drawing 4 and drawing 8. Okay, so you can drag and drop the texture that you want. I'm going to use the chunky one at first, and then we'll swap it over to the sort of flowy one just to see the difference. And then with this material, let's go ahead and drag and drop that onto our fire alpha particle system. So we're going to modify that heavily. Let's start with that. Let's go to this texture sheet animation down here, this module. We have a grid that is 2 by 2, so x2, y2, and you'll notice already our particles are changing just a little bit. And then this frame over time, let's go ahead and change that to between 2 constants, 0 and I guess 3.996. That's close to 4. So it's picking, as you'll see, a random one on its way up. It's one of these options. Next up, we want to take a look at the shape of this. So it is a cone. That's great. But let's bring the angle in, something smaller, like a 5 angle. And let's bring the radius down as well. So we're getting this nice stream of fire all the way at the top of the particle system component here. Let's make some changes as well. It's not really going the speed I want. So where's start speed? Let's make it a little bit slower. Maybe 1.5, maybe 1.6. The start lifetime as well, let's make it even shorter, like 3. There we go. Same with the start size as well. It's starting a little bit small. Let's bump it up, like 2.5, 2.6. And this gravity modifier is saying it's 0, but let's go ahead and give it a little anti-gravity, -0.05. Let's also give it some random rotation at the beginning, which is where? Start rotation, here it is, 0. Let's change it between random between 2 constants. We could do like -45 and 45. -90 and 90. And the start color as well. Let's knock this down to a slightly darker gray. Go ahead and go down to the module of color over lifetime, where the alpha is transparent at the beginning and the end, and in the middle is when it's visible, so we don't see it pop into view. We could actually set the color itself. So I could set it to go from like a bright yellow maybe, and then fade out to like a very dark brown red, and in the middle dark orange, and then this one maybe even like a red. And lastly, let's go to size over lifetime here. Check that. Let's look at that curve. Set it to be like 2.0 as the max, and set the start to be a little bit less than 1, so it kind of explodes like that. Maybe 2 is a little too big, like 1.5. It is quite slow. I do want to adjust the speed, but I'm going to keep going with this and we'll change it after, I think. So this is our alpha done. Let's go ahead and make a duplicate of this. So right click and duplicate that. And this fire one, let's call this fire additive. So it's kind of all the same, but we do need to go into our materials folder where our fire alpha is. Let's go ahead and right click. Oh, is there no duplicate? For me, I think it's Command D. There we go, duplicated that. And on the duplicated one, we want to go into the legacy shaders, particles, additive. Boom. And I'm also gonna set the tint to be just a slightly bit lighter so it really gives us that glow when it overlaps. Yeah, look at the difference in these materials. This one's bright and glowy, this one's a little bit less. And I'm gonna drag this onto the additive particle system. Let's go down to the renderer module on the additive particle system and order and layer here. Let's set that to be 1, so it's in front. And also on the main module, let's make it last a little bit less. Let's make this one like 1.5, maybe 1.3 even, 1.2. And then the start size, let's also make this one smaller, like 1.8. And the start speed, let's make this a little bit faster, like 2. And maybe for this fire additive, for the color over lifetime, we could also go into this color, instead of it's ending in smoke, we could end it as like the brightest bright red orange that we have. All right, so now with this fire additive, let's go ahead and right click and duplicate this, and this is gonna be our glow. On glow, at the bottom, in the renderer, I guess material, can we look up particle? Default particle system. I think let's do the default particle. And then for this one, we don't need the texture sheet animation, so we can uncheck that. And then on the main module, let's go ahead and make this glow a little bit bigger. So for the start size, 1.8, let's make that to like 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. The start speed, let's bump that up a little bit, 2.5, 2.6. Start rotation, this is just a circle. It doesn't need to rotate, so we can set that back to a constant, and that is 0. All right, so for the size over lifetime, let's take a look at this curve. It was starting at like 0.5. Let's maybe make it starting. We could mess with the start size a little bit here, just a little bit higher. And in the color over lifetime module, let's open up this one once more. Yeah, and this bright yellow as it overlaps will give us that that bright white that we're looking for. I think the glow is too big. Yeah, I'm gonna set the start size down to a 3 again. And for this glow, let's go to the bottom, the renderer, the order and layer. Let's also set that to be 2. So that's our glow done. So I'm gonna right click this glow system, and I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate that, and I'm gonna call this sparks. On the sparks, I might just use this firefly material, so it's just like a pinpoint kind of light. It's a particle shader that is alpha blended, and I'm just going to apply that to the sparks here. On the spark system, let's make it smaller, so let's go to the main module. And on the start size, instead of 3, let's make it like 0.1, maybe 0.2. And let's let the start lifetime be even higher, like 2. Let's go to the emission module and make it a bit more, like 50 sparks, like kind of a lot. And for the shape on the radius, let's make it a little bigger, like 0.4, yeah, 0.5 even, so you can see it expands to be kind of the width of this fire. And maybe the angle even slightly higher, so it comes out past the edge, 14, something like this. Now, we can also, like we did with the fireflies, we can go to the noise module and check that and just give them some kind of motion, although this is a little bit strong. So maybe the strength I'm going to bump down to 0.5 so it's not as wavy, and maybe bump up the frequency. Yeah, just give it a little bit more motion like that. We could even scroll it. What does scroll speed do? Cool. Cool. I like that. And lastly, maybe for this one, let's go to the size over lifetime. The sparks should not get bigger, they should get smaller over their lifetime, right? So they might start big and then end tiny. That's how sparks behave. And we could even pull it up just a little bit. Cool, and if we take a look at all 4 of them together, looks pretty great, especially if we compare this to, yeah, that one versus this. This fire right here has been using what I call the cheese fire. I don't know why it looks kind of like Swiss cheese. Let's swap the texture out to be this soft blobby fire and see how different that looks. Very different. So your texture can make a huge difference. So let me just child this to the cube, and I'm gonna set this fire game object to be 000. Like, not terrible. If I'm gonna be honest, it looks a little bit more like a fire that might live in your fireplace than it would a flamethrower. It doesn't have the same, like, crazy speed that a flamethrower would probably have. But visually, it's very pretty. What it is really is it's the lifetime and the speed, right? So what we saw in the original one was the start lifetime was really small, like 1.5. So the most should be 1.5. The other thing we saw on this flamethrower is that the speed is like 35 to 50. So let's try that. Let's set the speed between 2 constants. That's like 35 to 50. And then same with this additive one. Let's set the speed to be something much higher between 2 constants, like 35 and 50. And then I do remember the emission was much higher. So let's go to this one. Let's set it to like 250. And set the other one to be like 250. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Fire alpha 1, and let's set the size random between two constants. That's like 8 to 10. And same on the additive one. Let's set that between two constants. That's like 6 to 8. Yes, yes, yes. Here we go. Yeah, the sparks are just like a gentle whatever. Yeah, maybe the start speed on the sparks need to also be bumped up a bit, like 20 to 35, like 10 to 20. And then same even with the glow, like 20 to 30 on the speed. And then same with the start size. We will random between two constants. That's like a between 5 and 7. And we can set the scale of this fire object to be 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. Let's see if that makes the difference, or does it actually have to be on the systems? It has to be on the systems. So let's set the particle system scale to be 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And there you go. A much better looking flamethrower. So the original one looked like this. Our upgraded one looks like this. Cool. Just real quick last part, because I realized too, if I was watching this, I would want to know how to hook this up to my script, because it's slightly different than one particle system to play. So just to set that up real quick, you select all your particle systems, make sure that looping is off, play on awake is off, and then in your player script or whatever script you're using, I've added Flamethrower 2 to one of our available weapons. Go ahead and also add a particle system array. So these array brackets are saying, hey, there's more than one particle system in this. And then in the input check for if key code space is pressed, for our Flamethrower 2 that has 4 particle systems in it, we need to check for each thing that's in that array of particle systems. So if we have 4 or 5 or whatever, we need to play that thing in your cube or player. You'll notice there's Flamethrower 2 that has a list. I'm going to add 4 particle systems to this. I'm going to add the alpha, the additive, the glow, and the sparks into this. Make sure that the current weapon is going to be set to Flamethrower 2, and then go ahead and hit play. And now, hopefully, when I hit space, yay, our flamethrower appears. And when I let go of space, it should stop. There you go, it stops. Yeah, what if we select all of them and set the duration to be like 0.1? And then it looks something like this, just like a little burst like that. Let's make it so that our flamethrower is more responsive. So in our player script real quick, this is what it currently looks like, right? All within the if input.get key down, which is the moment we press the space key. I'm gonna copy the top part of this if, scroll down to that same part of the line, not mess up my brackets, and remove the word down. Now this if is checking if I'm holding the space key down. I'm going to take this part of our else if, go ahead and hit Command X, move my mouse here, hit Command V, get rid of this extra little else that's here, clean up the spacing, and there you go. So now we're using get key down for our quicker ones, and I guess for this flamethrower I could also put it in the get key. For this one, it's now checking for if we're holding the space key down. So go ahead and save your script, hop back in, and we should see as I tap space just a little bit, it sends out little bursts of fire. And then if I'm holding it down, it's the whole time I'm holding it. And as soon as I let go, it releases. Beautiful. That's exactly what we want. Okay. Hopefully this was useful. Great job in this one. And I will see you in the next one.